Hi, Akash. Thank you so much for being here today. It is entirely our privilege to have you on Parenting Unplugged.
No, absolute pleasure. Looking forward to the conversation.
Yes, so let's jump right into it. Uh, let's take you back to your school days and college days. What was that experience like? Tell me one instance of your school and one of your college that brings a smile to your face.
The Lord would bring smile, but I don't know if I can say that on camera or not. But yes, I think my schooling was, if I can use the word, a bit chilled out.
Okay.
I was never worked up about, the course, curriculum, syllabus, all of that.
Okay.
Unlike my brother, he was, and he would get surprised. Like, कल एग्जाम में कुछ टेंशन नहीं हो रही अरे हाँ एग्जाम ही है so that was the attitude, and I think broadly because somehow I had this pseudo concept in my head that my father is a teacher, so many teachers, so मैं भी ठीक कर लूँगा. So I always had this, and but the reality was different, that you have to work hard if you have to make the cut. So those were the school days, and in college also, it was. I think I was a fair bit more serious in the college because I got my jolts in the school, and after passing 12th, I didn't get the colleges that I wanted to get into. So I thought, well, we'll have to really buckle up and do something good and create a career out of oneself. Because I think one of the things that I always uh, think that in the schooling education, most teachers and your well wishers expect you to do well in certain career or subjects without even actually allowing the student to first hand experience what are you preparing for. I mean, I would have been far more inclined to work hard had I got an opportunity to actually go see a medical college
Right.
as a kid,
Right.
go see an IIT as a kid, go see a Harvard as a kid, and then you say, oh yeah, do I belong to this place or not? Oh yes, I belong to this place, and I'm gonna go back and make it happen. And then in our all minds that you have to become a doctor or an engineer. They were just told, and we had no clue. So I think that's something which I carry with me as a feeling afterwards. And when I got into college, I'm like, oh God, this isn't the college life that I dreamt of. Had I worked harder, I would have chosen better.
So you made a very interesting point right off the start. You said that when you didn't get into the college of your choice, was that point where you realized that you need to work hard to make things happen for yourself. At that point, who was that one person who made you pivot in your thinking?
Individual, I've always uh, aspired to make friends and peers with people who are much older, much more experienced than me. Somebody, mentioned to me, if you're confused in life, just follow the law of Newton, law of gravity,
Right.
which means everything is top down. So if you want to receive something, so you need to be at the receiving end, and things will automatically flow. Be in the company of people who can drop in gravitational knowledge to you. And I think with that, I would always try to be with my brother's friends, or my cousin's friends, or even people whom my dad knew. I was way more friendlier with them than my own friends,
Right.
because I felt that every opportunity of interaction that I get with them, there is something to learn. Not being selfish that I don't have to give anyone. It's just that I was in a mode of receiving,
Right.
because I felt that there is something unfulfilled that I must gather from the environment in every opportunity I get. So his friends, my father's colleagues.
Right.
So that, I mean, more than seeing them as uncles and experts, I would see them as someone who could become friends and share some intense knowledge or learnings in a very, very jovial manner. And that's what I enjoy.
Right. And then you got into becoming a teacher. And what was your approach when you dealt with so many students, thousands and thousands of students? What was your sort of approach to motivate them, to keep them going, to encourage them, and to expose them to things that might get them to get working, that exposure which you didn't have when you were younger?
First thing is that I wasn't the teacher. I got into teaching very, very momentarily when I started my operations in Bombay. And, like any coaching company, teachers keep running away. So the 2 out of 4 teachers ran away, and then I had to pick up the book. So because I couldn't let the class go empty.
Yeah.
And before that, mind you, I had stage fright.
Really?
Yeah, I had stage fright. I would fumble and tumble in front of a large audience. And I'm like, oh God, A, I can't talk to them. B, I have to teach them. C, it's physics. And, that was an experience. But, somehow, I, took help of my wife, stand in front of the mirror and I practice and practice. Then I picked it up. That, okay, and, the first set of content must go through. And then we will take the next, smaller mini steps to understanding what really students want and build their journey. I think one of the things that was of advantage to me was the age gap between me and the children wasn't that high, as compared to what you typically see, in a student teacher relationship. And I was very open, to feedback. And, I would just casually get into the classroom after, the fight was over. I think that proximity with children really allowed me to have a very deep ear uh, to what they're feeling. A lot of kids are there because their parents want it. A lot of kids are there because they have a fear of not being able to do anything in their career. So I think so. Those were the things that I was picking up, and I was trying to interact with the parents and how we can not push it as a fear, but as an inspiration that if you achieve this qualification, what great things you can do in life, and what and who could you be in the life.
Correct.
And that's where I would take the kids also to nearby colleges and universities to see, and that really made a difference. That this guy can understand and solve problems which are relevant for us.
It seems amazing to be able to catch the pulse of what a student is feeling and then to be able to deliver that and then finally help them succeed. I think that as somebody who teaches, well, in whatever way, shape, or form, I think that is the biggest high that you get as a mentor. So tell me a little bit about your journey as it grew and as you adopted technology or as circumstances sort of forced all of us to adopt technology. I'm sure the reach also widened. And so children who earlier may not have had the access to this knowledge started, having access. What changed or what differences did you see when this shift happened?
See, I think one of the things that uh, I was very open to uh, was experimentation.
Okay.
And I think that is something that mostly is significantly suppressed
Mhm.
in a structured academic environment. Uh, and that is where I would feel very uncomfortable in the schooling as well as in the college, that why it has to be this way. Can't we not just try something else? Because each child is different. Imagine a cardiologist sitting in a room, and there are some 30 heart patients sitting in front, and said he stands up and says that, okay, those who are feeling little heavy in the chest, take this. Those who are feeling little faintish, take this. It doesn't happen like that. It's so personalized.
Correct.
It's so one-on-one. And I was always wonder that each kid is coming from a very unique background with a very unique EQ and IQ,
Yeah.
with a very unique aspiration and life goals, and a very unique learning style
Right.
and their own strengths and weakness. How can we teach them all with the same, paint them all with the same brush? That always continued to, trouble me. And I think that is where I started, you know, uh, finding out, are there tools that can actually slice and dice this problem and provide me individualized, personalized offering for the kids at their own pace? And I think in the garb of technology, which was available then, thanks to video recording and YouTube and stuff like that, I was able to do a lot of these experiments where we were able to create content with students and aspirants can consume at their own pace. And I think that led to our first sort of say intervention with technology, which was far away from traditional approach. And I got a lot of flake for that, this is not going to work. People don't pay for watching TV. These are teachers, not actors. So, all kinds of things.
Yes, I can imagine. So now that you're talking about this personalized approach to each student, something that I wanted to touch upon was that, in the past, we've had the national boards, we've had the state boards, and then some of the scenic boards, etc. But today, to an Indian student and parent, there is a plethora of options available. In your mind, what kind of learner is suited for what board? So let's talk about them as three buckets. Let's talk about it as the national boards, let's talk about the IB system, and let's talk about the A level system. These are the sort of more prominent options available. So, in your mind, what kind of a student or a learner is best suited for each kind of board?
Before I answer, I think it's very important to understand that there is no good or bad board. They have their own approach and they are relevant to uh, their own set of audiences. When you talk about national board like CBSE, ICSE, uh, they are a very structured curriculum and more suited for kids who want to get into the depths of the subject. Very, very, well defined uh, and time proven.
Mm.
You
Yes,
know, some of-
tested.
a time tested. I mean, you see some of the top global CEOs in the world,
Yes,
they've gone through that system.
exactly.
And if that system wasn't good,
Yes.
they would have not outperformed there. There's a big amount of, I would say credit
Yes.
that the structured system has. And I believe every system has its own age, of relevance, but every system also has certain elements in them which cut across error. And international curriculum is one such curriculum. And when you talk about IB and the Cambridge, which is your O level and A level, so I think Cambridge is more like a system that allows you a lot of curiosity in learning, a lot of critical thinking in learning. It allows you to, get into a why kind of conversation than just about, what do I have to learn?
It.
Yeah. But and IB, on the other hand, is a far more holistic uh, curriculum that is very student centric. They've really designed it by keeping the child in the center. And, how can we explore the curiosity and critical thinking in a child from various stimulants, be it academic, be it cultural, be it music, be it, experiential, all of that. So this is where I would say IB is holistic. Cambridge is far more critical thinking into a subject, and national curriculums are far more structured and deep into the subject. So but having said that, we must not also uh, sort of overlook the state curriculums. There are state syllabus, UP, Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, Andhra. Everybody has their own state curriculum, which are very good for people who are looking at local excellence.
Right.
Because there are many jobs, many careers and vocations that will continue to run in the local area. So if you're studying in the local language with relevance to the local history and science, I think that's also very important for that.
Correct. So then, am I right in saying that as a parent, it's important to understand what is the learning cycle for your student? If your student is good with retain and recall, then the traditional board is good. If your student wants depth of inquisitiveness, you said the how, then I think the A levels are a good option where the number of subjects is limited and they dig deep into it. And if your student is the student who likes a wide breadth of subjects and they kind of want to explore everything,
very, very interdisciplinary,
then the IB would be a good choice for them.
So this is, if you know that for sure,
Right.
that this is my kid and this is how I see my kid do the learning journey going forward. But mind you, uh, this is where you know your kid, as the child is today, but how the child will evolve.
Yes.
And what kind of vocations the child will pick up eventually, you have no idea. So the decision is has to be taken keeping in mind what are the capabilities. Do I want this child to evolve to critical thinking or staying structured? That's also a decision, and that can be done. There are a lot of kids who switch to, Cambridge curriculum or IB curriculum after CBSE, ICSE, and there are a lot of who switch from Cambridge to IB also.
Correct.
So that switch is possible. That bridging is possible, given that you understand that this is my objective and this is where I want to go.
So let's talk a little bit about this new platform that you've created called Sparkle. And I think this bridging or this expertise of instruction is what Sparkle is offering to children who are wanting to study on these varied boards. So tell us a little bit more about that.
No, Sparkle was conceived with the similar feeling that I had that every child is different, and to excel in their own careers and to get into their colleges and universities of choice, they must understand the concept at the school level and are able to exhibit application of those concepts in the assessments that happen in the school. So can we understand the child basis that? Can we create a learning journey and allow them to perform and apply the concepts at their own pace, at their own intellect,
Right.
and then create a feedback loop so that we can continuously improve and take them higher. And Sparkle really is conceived from the point of view, can be made learning very, very personal and customized to each child.
What is the difference you are seeing with students who are being taught with this hyper personalization of content and knowledge versus the earlier structure of mass instruction to a group of students?
A lot. For example, kids who had phobia in maths because they had some missing link
Yeah.
in their mathematical learning journeys,
Yeah.
because they were sitting in a class of 30 and they were shying from asking questions. So they sort of skipped those concepts when they got stuck going forward. And I think this is what we are realizing when we are talking to these kids. You say, why are you not able to do this? I never understood it. And I couldn't ask in the class. I mean, kids are very, very open. And that's where we are able to identify that, if you are a grade 10 kid, do I need to go back to grade 7 concept and build it back again? And then we pick it up 10 because it's a personalized journey. It's a one-on-one journey. I don't have to wait for other kids to also understand or not understand. And I don't have to feel guilty that I'm wasting time for other kids. Every child has their own journey. And I think this is one of the most powerful validation that we are getting from kids, that this is our journey. This is my understanding.
Yeah.
And then now kids are saying that, I understand better with graphs. Can you just explain this on graphs? And teachers are liking it. And some kids say that, can you, I understand better with, videos. Can you send me some videos on that? So every kid has their own learning style. And I think uh, our aspiration is that we should be able to understand all of this and allow the power of AI underneath it to understand these signals, put them into algorithm, and make every next lecture way more powerful, that can trigger the teacher that, this is the kid and these are the examples that will be more relevant for this kid for a topic like this.
This sounds like a dream come true.
I know this is like so futuristic. Sometimes I get goosebumps when I talk to my team that this happened.
I cannot agree with you more because Akash, as a parent, my daughter was an excellent student. She just did not enjoy math. And no matter how much of instruction, how much of encouragement, it was just I can't do math. She went on to study at a top school and now is working. And in her recent feedback, she calls me and said, Mom, I think something is wrong with this company. And I said, What's happened? She said, They told me my biggest strength is numbers and data analysis. And I said, There you go. We have been telling you all along. But somewhere, like you said, maybe in grade 7, maybe in grade 6, some learning got missed. And then that, accumulated learning just kept having a gap. And so she convinced herself that she was not a numbers person. So I have actually experienced this as a parent. And that's why I said this is a dream come true.
And I've always seen this. When you sit with children, especially, they seem that it's hard to convince them. But I've always believed even children, they're just away from uh, one relevant argument. They're just away from that. So if you do a relevant argument with them and give them the whole spiel, they're able to change their mind. For example, today morning I was having a conversation with my son, and his exams are going on, and he's like tired. So, I've studied a lot and this and that and everything. I don't want to study anymore, and I've done. So I just said, life is not a race, but there are small races in between. There are small swimming champions in between.
Correct.
There are small cricket matches also in between. It's a full of lot of things. But remember that in any event, how you started, what did you do in the middle, they are important. But the most important thing is how do you keep your nerves towards the end? So you worked hard for last 1 month. You got it all there. It's just this one day.
Correct.
And if you give up now, you're actually gonna be saddened that all your hard work did not give you the fruits that you expected because you just let go on the last day. And then he said, "Okay, when do I have to start?"
Yes, very true. I find in my dealing with parenting students at Head Start, parents have become afraid of hard work that the children need to put in. A constant discussion is why should they take the toughest subjects, right? Is that something that you are also seeing that parents are so busy not wanting um, you know, sort of having such a cushioned life for their child that they are actually not, from that earlier times where parents would say take physics, chemistry, maths, biology, and if there was a tougher subject, right? Today, parents are constantly saying, let him or her not take the highest level of math. It will be too tough, right? Are you seeing this as a trend also? And is it a worrying trend for you?
So I'm seeing this as a trend.
Okay.
Uh, I am worried if the selection of the subject is out of fear, if it is out of inquisitiveness, it is out of curiosity that, we have not experienced liberal arts, why shouldn't my child get the exposure to history and geography? They're such beautiful subjects, or economics for that matter. That's great, but not out of fear. And I see that there's a mix of, both. That, some parents are, wanting to change subject because they want their kids to explore. And they themselves being in sciences and not really used sciences in their own career.
Correct.
They feel that, okay, it has given us the analytical thinking, and there are many other ways to acquire those skills. So let's not just stick to our subject guns. So those parents, I think I would not say that they're not pushing the envelope, but there are parents who are not selecting tougher subjects, so-called tougher subjects, because they feel that their children will be under stress, and it will all boils down to them handling that situation.
Yeah.
And are we capable and prepared enough to hear to that cribbing every day? No, it's not my cup of tea. So let him give you a easy subject or her an easy subject, and then let them just manage it on their own, so that we are not in the bad. So I think that's like that's like calling it quits, kind of a strategy which I don't subscribe to. And at the end of the day, like any muscle in the body, brain is a muscle. If you don't exercise it, It's not going to grow. It's not going to, fire neurons the way it should to support your future aspirations.
So, do you think now there is also a need to sort of almost re educate parents and get them on board? Because, the world is changing, career options are changing, subjects are changing, the effort needed is becoming different, exposure is different. So, do you think there is also this need for almost a movement for parents to also go through some kind of training or knowledge building or skill building to kind of do their job better?
Oh, absolutely. I think if there is uh, anything that is of dire need today, is this, knowledge, uh, for parents, how to be a parent of of a primary kid, of a middle school kid, of a teenager kid, because these stages are very, very different. And if as a parent, you're not doing your job well, and you're not upgrading yourself, you're not taking out time and reading books and getting yourself exposed to the experts on the subject matter, you will be making a lot of mistakes for which your child will be, paying the price, not now, but throughout their life. Completely agree. And there is a significant need for parents to get educated on parenting.
So, apart from your own ventures, you're also on the board of new age institutions. You run many other initiatives that are, dealing with education. So, what drove you to education, Akash? Was it just because it was a family business and you sort of adopted it and then started loving every bit of it? Or from the start, you knew that this is what I want to do?
Oh no, I had no idea. I had absolutely, I had no idea that what I will be doing. So since it was in the family, and when I joined him, and when I joined him also, I joined him with a lot of doubts and apprehension. Is it for me? I mean, I was a techie, tech was the world for me. And I think when I first year when I spent in this business in the Aakash Educational Services back then in 2006, uh, I got the opportunity to really see the impact of education. I could see uh, people who are coming from very, very humble backgrounds and the kind of aspirations they were carrying. And when they qualified for these medical entrance exams, at that time we were only doing medicine, uh, the amount of gratitude and trust and belief that they showed on me and the center that I was in charge of, that really shook me. I said, "Oh God, this is not uh, just any job. This is a responsibility." And when that struck me, I was like, "Oh God, this is this is great." And the kids coming, touching your feet, and parents, really being grateful. I think I've touched something which is really, really
It's very humbling also.
was very humbling, and I was like, "Oh God, what have I gotten myself into?" And then it sort of grew from there. That when you do better, and I've always realized that uh, you know uh, if your intent is clean and you work with that clean intent, the outcomes that you get are heart touching. And then once you get that appreciation and that recognition, you want to do more of it. And when you want to do more of it, and then you suddenly see the impact of your work is increasing, and then you want to just keep doing that or keep going on with it. And my engagement with the other education institute was purely because I believe that if there is one tool that can give a magic ticket for a great career, great life, uh, transformation, it's only education. Education has given you know immense impact to people in India and world over, with who have come from zero or no or very, very humble backgrounds. It's been a life changing experience for people who've gotten good education, and that's what keeps us driving.
Amazing. One thing that I often, question, and I'm kind of, wanting to dig deeper into. is though we have great education systems, and I have all the respect in the world for them, but I feel there is a gap between academia and industry. And earlier, it was easy for students to kind of stumble along and find their way, etc. I find because the age gap to enter industry has got lowered. Now you have school children doing startups, right?
Yeah.
So the need to be work ready is happening earlier and earlier. But I don't know if our education system is equipped to kind of get them workforce ready. Do you agree with this? And if yes, what would you want to see 2 or 3 skills built into the education system?
I think one of the things that I really want our current education system to imbibe, even at the school level, leave aside undergrad, grad level, there, of course, it's important. It's the whole, experiential learning. There is so much dependence and focus on books that, we forget that, until you use all your senses, the learnings and the lessons will not imbibe inside you.
Correct.
So for that to imbibe, your hands, your mind, your senses, your eyes, your visual, everything has to come together to make your learning, far more deeper. And I think once you learn with all senses, which is where experiential learning, has been devised now. Once you do with that, I think you learn with so much conviction and confidence that even if you don't have any vocation ready, you will be able to create opportunities for yourself and the society around you.
Absolutely. So now, with the futuristic vision of technology and the way you are envisaging AI to complement education, I feel the role of the teacher, the traditional teacher, is also going to evolve. Earlier, students went to class to get access to the knowledge that the teacher gave them. So the teacher said, you look at this paragraph or you use this book, etc. Now, knowledge is available anywhere at the click of a button. What do you think will remain the role of the teacher in this context? Is part one of my question. And the second is, what reskilling or new skills will teachers need to learn to remain relevant in this new world?
I think teachers, in today's world, don't have to tell you the definitions and the formulas and the applications and the concept. This is all available. What they need to do is, become a facilitator. Just be around you. For example, and I say that, for example, in an MBBS program, the last year is called the internship, where, the JR-ship and the internship, where the prospective doctors, they go on rounds in the hospital with the senior doctor,
Right.
where the senior doctor is just around
Correct.
and they're just observing how you're dealing with the patient, how what kind of symptoms are you catching, what kind of prognosis are you, coming out with. They're just observing, and then they just touch and intervene where they want to give a help,
Correct.
and not really, showing them everything. So I think that is the kind of role going forward teachers must play, that they are a facilitator. They are the ones who trigger them to ask more and more questions, because knowledge is readily available. They can provide all the knowledge. For example, we talk about, from many years, that it's not the right answer, it's the right question that matters. And Chat GPT has proven that, right? It's the right prompt that matters. And then you get the right answer, right? So I think that's the role of the teacher, that how can you create curiosity? How can you create opportunities and, you know, uh, sort of experiences where the child is forced to think and ask questions, because you're not afraid that I will not know the answer. A lot of time, the teachers will suppress, because they didn't know that, what kind of questions will come. They'll say, these are the 10 questions, these are the answers, go ahead. That's it. Nobody will meet me outside. Now you don't have to behave like that. Ask anything. I'll give you the question and I'll connect my data points and this answer and make your learning far more deeper.
Yes. So I also think 2 more things the teachers will need to start doing, and tell me if I'm right. I think they will need to become motivational coaches, because you still need someone to turn that technology button on, and you still need to get that will from that student to do it. And the second thing, I think teachers will need to develop very high EQ skills themselves, because with more and more exposure, children are going to question more. Like you said, they're going to learn more, but somewhere they will need help with that EQ development, which still is led by humans.
Correct. And so one of the things that I've always been pointed out by a lot of parents, that they would say that here's a kid, and uh, we're handing it over to you. And I would always say that the kid is with me for 4 hours, and next 20 hours the kid is with you. You come back. It's a joint venture. So whatever I'm gonna do, I'm not the parent. I'm the guide, I'm the mentor, and I have a role, right? And every system or ecosystem has entities which have their own significant role. Let's play our roles and then just shy away from the roles. Otherwise, the system won't work. And to your point, that EQ has to also come from the parents. They also need to become a facilitator.
Yeah.
They also need to motivate.
So, it's very funny in Head Start mentorship, parents often make this statement: this child is now yours. So, to which I say, we're a team. Like,
We're a team,
you're
right?
right. But one of the nicest compliments I ever got was a 14-year-old boy who did not speak very much when he first started the program, ended the year by saying, I feel I have a third parent. So the child saying that was like, it touched my heart. But the parent saying, it's the student is, I'm like, no, exactly what you said. I'm not the parent. Okay. So Akash, tell me, one book, one podcast, and one skill that you would like every child to kind of in middle and high school to read and listen to and develop one skill.
I think one of the things that if I could, out of all the books, the Atomic Habits book is one which I would recommend for a very simple reason, because most people get stuck at a problem, and the problem seems like a mountain. And we've had a philosophy in our company that if you have a problem, stretch the problem, and then you'll see small, small solvable pieces. Pick the easiest one,
Okay.
solve it,
Okay.
and plug it back.
All right.
Then the next one, and soon you'll realize that you started solving all, and then just put it back and problem solve.
That's a very interesting concept. So explain that once again.
It's like a rubber band,
All
right?
right.
When you stretch a rubber band, you start to see small, small elements in it, which is not visible to the normal eye when the rubber band is in the rest state. And so is the problem, situation with any problem.
Right.
When you're faced with a big problem, you sort of stretch it, that what all this problem contains, right? If you're late, for example, you're stuck in a flight, you missed your flight, it's a problem, right? Okay, and then you stretch that problem, that are there flights available? How many hours will I be late?
Right.
Will that person whom I have a meeting will wait for me, or can I put in a request for stay? Blah blah blah. And when you start, you know, contemplating all these small small solutions, yes, there is a flight, let me book it. It's 2 hours late. The guy is ready to wait, or meet me in another location. So you solve the problem. So why worry? So this is what has really worked for us, and books like Atomic Habits really really help you with that. Yeah. You said the book and
Podcast.
a podcast.
They can listen to this one.
Of course, they will listen to this one for sure, and the entire series. But I think the guy who wrote this book, Psychology of Money, Morgan Housel, he runs a podcast, and I have always found it very very interesting, because uh, and I think why I like it for an adult as well as for a kid, because the guy talks sense, and there is a lot of conversation around financial thinking, financial literacy, which I think should be a core offering or a subject for any child at the school level. Leave aside college. So yeah.
And what is that one essential skill they should look to build? apart from academics?
I think I have always been impressed by people who have built strong communication skills. I believe language and communication is so underestimated. And if you have a significantly strong superlative command on your own language or any language, you can be a leader anywhere.
I could not agree more.
I mean, I've seen people who had command on Hindi as a language, and they are such impressive orators, thinkers, because they're able to, A, if you know the language, you're able to articulate whatever is going on in your head so well. And that communication, that clear communication to the team is actually the first step of really delegating, what you want get done.
Correct.
And if that is not clear, nothing will happen or wrong things will happen. So I think communication skill, financial literacy, digital literacy, in this day and age, and your critical thinking, problem solving. I think these are the plethora of skills that the kids should pick up outside of their academic rigor.
As a parent, what does success mean to you for your own children?
I think if they are able to identify uh, what gives them peace, what gives them excitement at the same time, that if I do this, I'll be excited yet at peace. I will not have any issues with, in doing this. I'll be in my own skin. I think that's a success. For me, if my kids are able to experience uh, this feeling in whatever vocation they pick up, be it careers through liberal arts, through STEM, through art, whatever they choose. I'm not hell bent on any specific career, and I've seen people making huge amount of success and impact, irrespective of the backgrounds or the genres of academic excellence they've come from.
Yeah, that's so evolved as an answer. Really. So, congratulations. Your children are lucky to have you as a parent. And I cannot thank you enough for taking the time out to being here. And really, I think this insightful conversation is going to be of value for so many parents and children because A, you're someone who has done the traditional, the sort of majority needs education, and now you're hyper sort of personalizing it to such an extent. So you've done it all, you've covered the whole spectrum, and I wish you so much luck on this new endeavor of yours. So
Thank you so
thank
much.
you.
Thank you. It was an absolute pleasure to be here. I hope you and the audience will enjoy what we discussed.
Yes, I'm sure we will. Thank you.
Thank you.